Let's start with our first news. Khamzat is reportedly waiting for Sean Strickland to agree to a rematch before making his UFC return. The former title challenger has made it clear that he is ready to get back inside the octagon, but according to his latest comments, the next move may depend on the current champion. Khamzat recently spoke about his situation in an interview, revealing that he is still waiting for Strickland to accept the rematch. After losing the title fight at UFC 328 in May, Khamzat appears determined to settle the score and get another opportunity against the champion. According to Khamzat, nothing has changed in his approach. He says he continues to train regularly and remains ready to compete whenever the UFC gives him a fight. "We're training, waiting for Sean Strickland to come out of his house. It doesn't matter to me. Whenever they give me a fight, that's when I'll return. I am always in the gym." Those comments suggest that Khamzat is not sitting around waiting for the perfect opportunity. Instead, he claims to be staying active in the gym while keeping himself prepared for whatever comes next. The situation also adds another layer to the growing tension surrounding a potential rematch. Khamzat clearly wants the fight, but whether Strickland is willing to run it back remains the key issue. For now, Khamzat says he is ready whenever the UFC makes the call. If the rematch is eventually booked, it would give him a chance to correct the mistakes from their first meeting and reclaim his position at the top of the division. Meanwhile, another major UFC heavyweight storyline has also been developing. Tom Aspinall recently told fans on social media that he had returned to training as he prepares for a potential rematch with Ciryl Gane. With both fighters reportedly back in the gym and preparing for their respective futures, the UFC's middleweight and heavyweight divisions could be heading towards some big matchups. For Khamzat, however, the message remains simple. He is training, he is ready, and he is waiting for the opportunity to return. The question now is whether Sean Strickland will be the man standing across from him when that moment finally arrives. Let's move on to other news. Dan Hooker has revealed that he has been receiving what he described as serious threats from French fans following the announcement of his upcoming fight against UFC newcomer Saladin Parnasse. Speaking with Submission Radio, Hooker explained that the situation has been completely different from what he experienced during his previous fight against Benoit Saint-Denis. According to Hooker, the reaction from some French supporters has gone far beyond normal fight promotion or online trash talk. Hooker said he's received messages from French fans telling him that he is going to die and claiming that they are going to kill him. The veteran lightweight admitted that he was surprised by the level of hostility and said the difference in the response has been outrageous. The New Zealand fighter compared the situation to his previous matchup with Saint-Denis, who is also French. Hooker explained that he did not experience the same kind of threats before that fight, which he believes could be connected to Saint-Denis' personality and the type of fan base he has built. According to Hooker, Saint-Denis has always carried himself with a high level of respect, and he suggested that his supporters may have followed that example. However, he believes the reaction surrounding his upcoming opponent has been very different. Hooker's comments highlight the intense emotions that can surround international MMA matchups. When fighters from different countries meet inside the octagon, national pride can sometimes become a major part of the story, especially when passionate fan bases get involved. However, there is a clear line between supporting a fighter and making personal threats. While heated exchanges and online criticism are common in combat sports, threats of violence are a much more serious matter. For Hooker, the focus now appears to be on preparing for his next challenge inside the octagon. Despite the controversy surrounding the online reaction, he remains committed to the fight and is expected to bring the same veteran experience and toughness that have defined his career. The matchup with Parnasse has already generated plenty of attention, and Hooker's latest comments have added another layer to the buildup. Now, all eyes will be on the fighters when they finally step into the cage and settle their rivalry where it belongs, inside the octagon. Let's move on to other news. Khabib Nurmagomedov has shared his thoughts on the recent fight involving Magomed Chanko Zainikov, offering a brief but positive reaction to the action inside the cage. While speaking about the matchup, Khabib was asked whether Islam had said anything about the fight. Instead of giving a lengthy response, Khabib kept his comments simple and focused on what he believed was an entertaining performance. He congratulated the fighters and described the contest as a fun and exciting fight. According to Khabib, the result was not necessarily surprising, because many people already expected the matchup to produce exactly this kind of action. Khabib explained that the fighters were expected to deliver an entertaining battle, and that is exactly what happened. From his perspective, the fight lived up to the expectations surrounding it and provided fans with the kind of excitement they were hoping to see. His reaction also reflects the way Khabib often analyzes combat sports. Rather than focusing only on the result, he appears to appreciate the overall quality and entertainment value of a fight, especially when both competitors are willing to engage and create memorable moments. For fans who follow the fighters connected to Khabib's circle, his comments are also interesting because of the mention of Islam. The two have a long history together, and any reaction from Khabib regarding a major fight involving their team naturally attracts attention from the MMA community. However, Khabib's main message was clear. He believed the matchup was expected to be an exciting contest, and ultimately, it delivered exactly that. In combat sports, some fights are built around technical strategy, while others become memorable because of their pace, aggression, and constant action. This appears to have been one of those matchups where the entertainment factor played a major role. Khabib's brief comments may not have revealed any major controversy or behind-the-scenes information, but they did underline one important point. The fight delivered the kind of excitement that fans and fighters alike were expecting. And when a matchup lives up to the hype and produces a fun, high-energy battle, that is often enough to leave a lasting impression on everyone watching. Let's move on to other news. Sean Strickland recently crossed paths with Khamzat's teammate Brendan Allen, adding another chapter to the growing tension between the two middleweights. Allen is currently riding a 3-fight winning streak, and after his latest victory over Edmund Shabazian, he opened up about his complicated history with Strickland and the confrontation that followed their previous issues. The tension goes back to the weeks before the Khamzat versus Strickland title fight. Allen had joined Khamzat's training camp to help him prepare for the matchup. Strickland, who had previously fought and defeated Allen years earlier, believed there was a specific reason Allen was brought into the camp. From Strickland's perspective, Allen already knew what it was like to face him inside the octagon. That experience could potentially give Khamzat and his team valuable insight into Strickland's fighting style, habits, and tendencies. Those suspicions appeared to contribute to the growing bad blood between Strickland and Allen. However, Allen has now explained that his role in the training camp was not about copying Strickland or providing some kind of secret game plan. According to Allen, he even asked the team whether they wanted him to mimic Strickland during sparring. But he says the answer was simple: just be yourself and do what you normally do. Allen also explained that nobody specifically asked him to provide special information about Strickland. He had already fought Strickland around 6 years earlier, and while he believes Strickland is still fundamentally the same fighter, he also acknowledged that people change and evolve over time. The situation became even more interesting when Allen crossed paths with Strickland after defeating one of his teammates. Allen said he told Strickland that it felt like he had sacrificed his teammate in the situation, but he did not appear particularly concerned about how Strickland interpreted the comment. For Allen, the message is straightforward. He understands why Strickland might have viewed his involvement in Khamzat's camp differently, but he insists there was no hidden agenda behind it. At this point, Allen says he simply does not care what Strickland thinks. He made his position clear. Strickland can say whatever he wants, but Allen is focused on his own career and continuing his winning momentum. Let's move on to other news. Carlos Olberg has revealed his ideal roadmap for the UFC light heavyweight division, and his proposed matchups could have a major impact on the title picture. According to Olberg, the UFC should book Magomed Ankalaev against Jiri Prochazka while pairing Paulo Costa with Khalil Rountree. The champion believes Ankalaev versus Prochaska is the fight that makes the most sense for the division, especially after Ankalaev's dominant victory over Bogdan Guskov. Olberg feels both fighters deserve a full training camp before they finally meet inside the octagon. In his view, giving them enough time to prepare would allow them to settle the question of who truly deserves the next opportunity at the light heavyweight championship. The champion also has an interesting idea for the other side of the division. Olberg suggested a matchup between Paulo Costa and Khalil Rountree, describing it as a high-risk, high-reward fight. Both men have the power and aggression to create an explosive contest, and Olberg believes the winner could emerge as a legitimate contender for the title. As for his own future, Olberg appears willing to let the division play out before making his next move. The champion says he is prepared to wait and face whoever proves they are worthy of a title opportunity once these potential matchups are settled. However, Olberg's immediate future is currently on hold because of an injury. The champion is recovering from a torn ACL that he suffered during his fight with Prochaska. That injury means Olberg will have to spend some time on the sidelines before defending his championship again. Rather than rushing back, he appears focused on making a full recovery and returning when he is physically ready. Meanwhile, Olberg's teammate Dan Hooker has also shared his thoughts on who could eventually challenge for the light heavyweight title. With several dangerous contenders waiting in the wings, the division could become extremely interesting while Olberg recovers. Ankalaev versus Prochaska could determine one side of the title picture. While Costa versus Rountree could produce another serious contender. For now, Olberg is willing to wait. He knows the division will continue moving forward, and once he is fully healed, the champion says he will be ready to face whoever emerges as the next deserving challenger. Let's move on to other news. There has been a new and potentially concerning update regarding Shavkat Rakhmonov's recovery, and it could mean fans will have to wait even longer before seeing the talented welterweight back inside the octagon. According to a recent update from his physician, Mika Marwart, Rakhmonov's recovery following multiple knee surgeries is taking significant time. The latest information suggests that the earliest he could potentially return to competition may be in the winter of 2027. If that timeline remains accurate, it would represent an incredibly long period away from active competition for one of the most highly regarded fighters in the UFC welterweight division. Rakhmonov's last appearance came against Ian Machado Gary, and by the time he potentially returns, he could have been out of action for roughly 3 years. For any professional fighter, especially one competing at the highest level of MMA, such a lengthy absence can create major challenges. Fighters need time to recover physically, but they also have to rebuild their timing, conditioning, and confidence before stepping back into the octagon. Rakhmonov was once considered one of the division's most dangerous rising contenders, known for his unbeaten record and impressive finishing ability. His extended absence, however, has temporarily put his career on pause, while the welterweight division continues to move forward without him. The biggest priority right now is clearly his health. After undergoing multiple knee surgeries, rushing back too soon could potentially create even more problems. A complete recovery is likely to be far more important than trying to meet an earlier return date. If Rakhmonov eventually returns in 2027, he could find a very different welterweight division waiting for him. New contenders may have emerged, established fighters could have moved up or down in weight, and the championship picture could look completely different. That makes his eventual comeback even more intriguing. After spending years away from the competition, fans will be watching closely to see whether Rakhmonov can immediately return to the level that made him such a feared prospect. For now, though, the timeline remains dependent on his recovery. The earliest projected return is reportedly the winter of 2027, meaning the UFC and Rakhmonov supporters may have to exercise a lot of patience. After such a long and difficult road back, the goal will be simple: return healthy, rebuild his momentum, and eventually remind everyone why he was once viewed as one of the most dangerous fighters in the division. Let's move on to other news. Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane could be heading toward a highly anticipated rematch, with reports suggesting that the UFC is working on booking the heavyweight showdown for UFC 333 on October 24th. The potential rematch would be a major fight for the heavyweight division, especially with both men looking to establish themselves at the top of the weight class. Aspinall and Gane are two of the most skilled heavyweights in the sport, and their next meeting could have serious implications for the championship picture. The first matchup created plenty of attention, and now fans could get another opportunity to see these two elite heavyweights settle things inside the octagon. Meanwhile, another interesting story emerged following UFC Abu Dhabi, where Magomed Zainalov made an impressive UFC debut and remained undefeated with a unanimous decision victory over Damian Bajszewski. Zainalov controlled the fight across 3 rounds, using his striking to outwork his opponent and secure the judge's decision. It was a successful introduction to the UFC, but despite earning the victory, Zainalov revealed that he still received some criticism from Khabib Nurmagomedov. Speaking during the post-fight press conference, Zainalov explained that he had already spoken with Khabib immediately after leaving the octagon. According to Zainalov, Khabib congratulated him and described the fight as great, exciting, and fun. However, Khabib also pointed out one major mistake that he was not happy about. Zainalov said Khabib specifically criticized him for missing a takedown during the fight. The message from the former UFC champion was simple. Missing that opportunity was not okay. The interaction highlights the extremely high standards Khabib appears to maintain for fighters around him. Even after a successful UFC debut and a clear decision victory, there was still room for improvement in his eyes. For Zainalov, the experience could be valuable moving forward. Getting a win on the biggest stage is important, but receiving feedback from someone with Khabib's experience can also help a fighter identify weaknesses and continue developing. Now, with his UFC debut behind him, Zainalov can look ahead to his next challenge, while fans wait to see whether Aspinall and Gane will officially meet again at UFC 333. If the rematch becomes official, it could be one of the biggest heavyweight fights on the UFC calendar.